Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. I hope that all of you guys are having an amazing Friday and have some fun plans lined up for the weekend, or if not, like me, doing a little bit of relaxing, getting caught up on work projects and recuperating. Maybe I'll treat myself to some like DIY spa treatments at home. But anyway, let's get into the commentary and the takeaways from President Biden's State of the Union address. I feel like he did a really good job. All of the ladies were in consensus in regards to, his talking points were very strong. He addressed things like, January 6th. He said he wasn't going to back down from them. He said, quote, "Some of you here want to bury the truth about January 6th." And I thought that that was very poignant, especially since they were at the Capitol, which is essentially the scene of the crime, as Sunny pointed out. So I enjoyed it. I think that, we definitely need President Biden to send a message of hope, which is what Sarah repeated several times. She said, that she needed a leader that was going to be strong, that was going to provide hope for the country. So even Alyssa, who's the only Republican at the table, she said, "This is the first time I felt like Biden could beat Donald Trump in November," which is very strong, right? I feel like she is adequately representing the Republican Party at the table. And so I couldn't agree more. I feel like, he did a really good job of not only addressing the concerns of the general public, like his age, he addressed that. He kind of made a joke about that. But being humorous and diffusing, tension with humor, I feel like is a really good political strategy. And that's a very fine line, right? Because you don't want people to think that you are making jokes or not taking the State of the Union as seriously as you should. So I feel like he walked that line pretty well. Anna Navarro weighed in as well. She said that she thought that President Biden was very engaged, that he was impassioned and essentially pissed off, right? um, and using that anger as fuel, right, to move the country forward. Sonny said that he used the word forward or future several times, and that's important, right, because Trump's whole campaign is the opposite, right? He's looking toward the past and nostalgia, make America great again. So he wants to move, which essentially that's what a lot of the conservative and the Republican Party is doing, right? We're literally regressing in a lot of areas in regards to, civil liberties. They got rid of affirmative action. They got rid of, Roe versus Wade. They got rid of, DEI in Florida banning books and just a lot of cuts. Child labor laws, right, in Arkansas and other conservative Republican states are being rolled back essentially. So it's completely two different political strategies. My thing is, as an independent, I feel like American democracy is on the ballot in a way that has never been before. Um, like I've mentioned before, and I haven't been voting that long, I'm not that old, but I have voted for Republican presidents in the past, and I have voted for Democratic presidents in the past. And so the country has never seen a president like Donald Trump, right? There's never been a president in our history that has been, impeached twice, as Sunny always likes to bring out, right? She's like the twice impeached, disgraced presidential candidate, I should say. But I've never seen someone, who has like 91 indictments and essentially try to, uh, unalive his own vice president, when Mike Pence wouldn't, you know, essentially overturn American democracy and declare Donald Trump the winner, even though he didn't have the votes. That's what he's being indicted for in Georgia, right? With the Secretary of State in Georgia, he said, why don't you find me the votes that I need? I mean, just Donald Trump's history is just criminal behavior after criminal behavior. 91 indictments is nothing to laugh at. I mean, Nixon resigned, right? He wasn't impeached, but that's the closest I can think of in terms of criminality. Bill Clinton, adultery is not, a crime. It may be unethical or immoral, but he was essentially impeached for that. So I can't see. American democracy, and Alyssa has said this too, right? And Sarah, all the ladies have, essentially agreed that this presidential election is really, in my opinion, going to determine whether we stay a Democratic Republic or not. They've been interviewing some Trump supporters who have been openly in favor of a dictatorship, which is like, whoa, talk about rolling back civil liberties in our country. And America is essentially, a young country in comparison to others, right? They're a lot more established, like, England or China. We've only been really established, since 1776, even though people arrived here 1619 and began building the foundation. But the Constitution wasn't written until July 4th, 1776, the day of our independence. So that's young. And the democratic process is so important to the foundation of our nation. And for that to be essentially on the ballot is really, it's an eye opener, because I feel like if Donald Trump is elected, I feel like that's the last presidential election that we'll have in a very long time. He's already stacked, the Supreme Court in his favor with conservative justices, and, President Biden addressed them as well, saying that women have political power, and they're going to find out in November, with that smirk, that smile that the ladies addressed. But that's good that he addressed them directly. I feel like that's what, Anna was talking about in regards to using that anger as fuel. And I really do hope that people will be pissed off enough, to use Anna's term, but they'll be upset enough and motivated, right, to go out in November and vote, that this will not be an election where people are apathetic or, and not just in the presidential election, right, because we need Congress as well. So let's move on to a different segment, but I think it was a really good first segment talking about the takeaways from the State of the Union. So they invited Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer on, and he said that, America is strong and that Biden is strong, and that, if you watch the speech, you have no doubt that Biden is going to win this election, and, we're going to have a great second term, which of course he's doing his job, right? Promoting the Democratic Party. And he was talking about the failed bipartisan border deal, which is a huge issue with Republican voters as well as Democratic voters. But, they said that the situation at the border is an emergency, and Biden is offering, an olive branch to fix it in a bipartisan way. And Trump is controlling the Republican Party behind the scenes. He's not even been elected yet, and he won't let them accept it just because it didn't come from him. Like, that ego is so dangerous for our nation, that Trump wants to hold it out for a political advantage. And they essentially agreed that Trump was the loser on this, right? And not only Trump, I would chime in and say it's also, the American people. We want someone who is solutions oriented, not just someone who focuses on grievance politics. Another interesting segment that, I was like, wow, I didn't know that Sally Field, who was nominated for Best Actress, because you guys know the Oscars are this Sunday, but that her boyfriend at the time, Burt Reynolds, he refused to go to the Oscars with her because he was essentially intimidated by her being nominated and that he wasn't. Talk about egos, right? Like that's, horrible. So the ladies talked about the importance of having a supportive partner in your life, which is, of course, the utmost of importance, right? You don't want to have someone be a hater and the be on your arm. There's a lot of people who are jealous and who will be spiteful, when you're successful, but you definitely don't want those people in your circle, let alone your partner. So I really enjoyed that as well. But I want to hear from you guys. What do you think about the State of the Union address? What do you guys think about all the different segments, or, what Chuck Schumer was saying? Do you guys think that Joe Biden is going to be reelected, or do you think that Donald Trump will be elected? I want to hear from you. Let me know your thoughts. Please be sure to like the video, share with your loved ones, friends, family, all that good stuff. Please be sure to like the video. It's a free way to support the channel. Subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I will talk with you in the next one. Take care and have a great weekend, guys. Bye.